Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Gordon Maston, and welcome back here to the DIY Wrestling Podcast. Today, as you can see, because I didn't get to do it last night because I was exhausted after the show, it's daytime. It's Sunday, it's the daytime. We are doing the DIY Wrestling Podcast, and it is NXT Takeover Toronto. Now, this, as per usual, was a pretty good, really good takeover. And, I mean, while it was really good, match quality wise, results wise, I mean, I'd agreed with some of these things. I found no reason to agree with them because in certain cases you're supposed to be building stars. In other cases, it just feels like when you do things with the Dusty tournament, you wouldn't really want, I wouldn't. Okay, I'll get into it. But the best thing I can really say here is, it was all around good show. Like, I enjoyed the entire thing from top to bottom. It was quality wise of wrestling. It was a really good show. The DIY, the DIY match between DIY and the Revival, by far match of the night. I've been seeing some people online saying by far match of the year. No matter what. That I don't care what you put into it. Mickey Asuka, it was good, but it was just it wasn't. You could tell they're just NXT is in a sense just hey, and obviously Triple H has even come out and said it. Hey, we're restarting our women's division. We don't really have a very credible threat at all for Asuka. So here you go. Here's Mickey James, guys, and that's our B option because Trish got pregnant. Who's the real heel in life? Yeah. All right, now, as we get into Takeover, you know what? I'm not even gonna go there. It was kind of a rant. It wasn't even about. It was kind of about NXT, but it wasn't anything negative about NXT. It's just about people's perceptions of NXT, and I entirely see where they're coming from. And they're not wrong, but if I remember toward the end of the review, we'll get into it. Okay. So, the first thing we get into here is Bobby Roode versus Ty Dillinger. And both men natively from Canada. That was the narrative they were building going into this match. So Bobby Roode gets cheered. All right. If Ty Dillinger gets cheered, that's kind of what we really want. And I may just be reading that wrong, but both men from Canada. This is their home and native land. But this match, I mean, it started out a bit slow. Was a little hard to grab my attention at first, and then I eventually got into it more and more, like toward the end, and it would have honestly been great. Like, it was honestly a pretty, solid match by the end of the match. I was gravitated, and emotion was invoked, and I was pretty upset about the loss because Ty Dillinger goes on to lose this match to Bobby Roode. But this is how I feel about it right now, honestly. Why did Roode need the win? Like, it boggles the mind to me to know why did Bobby need the win? Like, I don't see any reason Bobby needed the win. I just don't. It's beyond me. I don't understand why NXT would have figured Bobby Roode, hey, he should probably win this match. I mean, he's already an established star. Win or lose, he's not really affected by this. And Ty Dillinger is a star in the making. The crowd is obviously behind him all night. There were 10 chants. Before these two even touched, there was "this is awesome" chants, and that right there just lets you know, okay, this is where this crowd is going to be tonight. But in all honesty, from where I stand, and I'm pretty sure from where many others stand, Bobby Roode would have been hurt by taking that clean L. Now, Dillinger just looks like a joke for standing up for himself and going after Bobby Roode and losing. And, like, here's the thing. They say usually when, okay, and this is one thing, I think it was Paul Heyman who said this a while back. if you're in a promo and you're building something, you're building a match, you really hype yourself up, you really pump yourself up, but you put a shred of respect on the other guy's name because if the other guy beats you, you look stupid for degrading him as much as you did. But then on the other side of things, if you degrade that person and give them zero respect, then at the end of the day, what do you look like? What does it prove? It just proves you were right and the other person was wrong, and they can't really do much about it. Like if Ty Dillinger were to attack Bobby Roode on the next NXT, that would just make Ty Dillinger look like a petty little child because he himself couldn't beat Bobby Roode. So if he were to go back after Bobby, he would have basically forced Bobby into another match. And I get it that they're trying to make Dillinger fight from underneath, but you can't make an underdog out of a guy who doesn't really win that much. And you can say, well, Dillinger gets wins on NXT. Yeah, against scrubs and no-names to build him for matches like this to make it seem like, okay, maybe he could beat Bobby. Well, when he just didn't beat Bobby and he's not really winning much at all, there's not really much you can do about that. And there's not really much you can, like, the only thing that's keeping Ty Dillinger believable as an underdog is that we want him to succeed. And he's just not. Like, this is how you build Dolph Ziggler-esque characters, in my honest opinion. Like, where you just become a guy who has a pretty solid, like, who's pretty solid in the ring, can put on good matches, looks good losing. I mean, this is how you build guys who are known eventually over time as the true jobbers. Dolph Ziggler, the true jobber. I don't care if that man holds a championship for 45 minutes, the world championship for 45 minutes. He's still going to lose, and he's going to lose to somebody who's obviously better than him and looks good. And he's going to look good losing. That is what they're showing me with Ty Dillinger. Like, they have been so wishy-washy on Dillinger, it's insane. And I just found no reason that Bobby Roode should have won this match. Otherwise, though, it was a pretty solid match all around. I mean, the super kick spot that Dillinger did, I thought that probably would have been it, but it just didn't happen. The tiebreaker that Ty was going for, he never got to hit it. Bobby Roode faked like he was going to go for the tiebreaker, never really got to. He won with his impaler DDT, like the DDT Edge used to do, like that. So, yeah, there's that. Okay, up next, what do we have here? All right, we have the finals of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. And is it bad that after this, it's probably a bit far. I was gonna say, and I obviously don't see it that way. I thought about saying, is it bad that I don't want to see AOP? I mean, is it bad that I think? Excuse me. I was thinking, is it bad that I don't want to see AOP succeed? But that's not what I was gonna say. No. I was going to say, is it bad that I don't want to see the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic again after this year? And, like, it started out so hot, went so perfectly, and then we ended up down to Sanity and TM61. While I like Shane Thorne and Nick Miller, more so Shane Thorne than Nick Miller, I said Sanity. Authors of Pain versus TM61. I have no problem with Sanity. Dude, I just can't. Like, this was a good match. Don't get me wrong. Worst match on the card. But that doesn't mean it was bad. That just means everything else stuck out more. But this was definitely a fun match all around. Paul Ellering was held in a shark cage. So they hung him about 13 feet above the ring. And at this point, they used what they used to use in TNA for you to jump off of the Ultimate X, like the steel garners at the bottom of the floor, and they attached that, and they basically set that entire thing up. Now, with that being said, Authors of Pain it was a back and forth match, honestly, and people are saying, well, their matches are getting better. I don't think it's a sense. Like, people are saying their matches are getting better because they're facing guys that will carry them. Like, I honestly think in this entire match, people will say, Well, it was a back and forth match. Honestly, I'm not a fan of the Authors of Pain at all. Aiken and Razor do not interest me whatsoever, and their matches do not interest me whatsoever. If they're working with a fast-paced tag team that could really carry the match, like when they worked with Rich Swann and No Way Jose. Jose's not really all that fast-paced, but Swan is. I believe DIY got beat by Authors of Pain when they worked with DIY. DIY even carried them to a good match. When they work with teams that know what they're doing, or have guys that can really carry somebody, that's when they show their best. Otherwise, nothing. I don't see any way that AOP will ever really succeed in WWE unless Vince wants a boring monster heel tag team, or it's just like who's ever gonna stop these guys? And Ellering is it just seems so out of touch, out of place for me. Like I don't like the Authors of Pain. I just don't. It's just they're just trash, man. I'm sorry. To me, at least, they're just trash, and it's probably a harsh assessment of a tag team that's like practically new and still pretty green and still learning. And you never know. I could turn around on Authors of Pain. I don't see it, but not really a fan. Otherwise, if we're talking about TM6 in this match, actually, I'll give Authors of Pain one thing, and Shane Thorne told the hell out of this. When one of the Authors of Pain, I don't know which one, I can't really tell Akam and Rezar apart. One of them grabbed Shane Thorne's leg and flipped him, and Thorne sold this, and he landed on his freaking head, on the apron. That looked rough. Okay, now the spot that I'm pretty sure everybody's waiting for me to talk about. Shane Thorne's insane flip off of the steel structure on the Akam and Rezar. So not even like 10 minutes into this match, not even 5 minutes in, I don't think, when they show that structure that's holding the cage above the ring, the shark cage, I'm literally just sitting here thinking, how long until somebody jumps? And Shane Thorne did a complete senton, a flipping senton off of that thing. Shouts out to Shane Thorne. Nick Miller, honestly, I have thought through the entire run of TM61, once I've started to notice, holy crap, Shane Thorne's the better one out of these two, that Nick Miller does not look any bit impressive to me. Tonight, strong man, like he was being a strong man of the group where he's basically like tossing these two around. And he even had a pretty nice moonsault himself in this match. Nick Miller impressed me a little more, but at the end of the day, Shane Thorne is still the star of this team. Like Shane Thorne is, if they ever break up TM61, formerly known as the Mighty Don't Kneel, TMDK, Shane Thorne, if he can develop a character and his mic skills can take him places, he's going to be a star. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think these guys are meant to be a tag team for a long time. So, yeah. But the match ends with the Authors of Pain getting the victory with the final chapter. I think is their finishing maneuver. And that was pretty much about that. Triple H and Regal come out to handle the presentation of the trophy and hand it to the Authors of Pain. And that was really about that. So up next, we had the match of the night, which was Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa versus the boys. The people that everyone doubt every time they step into a ring at a takeover. They step into a ring in general. Scott Dawson, Dash Wilder, the Revival. Now, the Revival in this match versus the Revival, they just every time they get in the ring at TakeOver, and allow me to go over recent history since London, I'll say, like they had their match at Respect with Joe and Balor, but you just knew that was a glorified squash. Okay, but since London, Enzo and Cass, I read that, well, this will be a pretty fun match. Enzo and Cass will win the titles. No, Revival retained, and they did it in a pretty entertaining fashion. Like, they're like, oh, okay, that was a pretty solid match. But most people probably credit that to Enzo and Cass. No. what do you call it? After that, I'll even go to Roadblock, like W Roadblock with Enzo and Cass, and that was just like that was a main roster house show at that point in time, a house show network special. Yeah. So after that, you got what's the next event? Oh yeah, then you got NXT Takeover Dallas. While it wasn't the best match on the card, it was still a pretty good match. And they lost titles, but then again, you got Respect, where once again, match of the night. I don't care what anybody will tell me about Nakamura Aries. Revival regaining the championships. Best match of the night. Then you give me Brooklyn. Yeah, you give me Brooklyn. And then they do their match with DIY. Best match of the night. And now you have tonight. Best match of the night. The Revival consistently put on bangers. Like, they consistently steal the show with anybody they step into the ring with on the Takeover. And people will probably still consistently tell you the Revival are green, they don't know what they're doing, and other people carry them. Which I think is completely stupid at this point. And they're a tag team who actually, like, they're heels. Okay, so let me put this in perspective first. They are heels in the landscape of wrestling that actually get heat. This is incredible to me. And you could actually say, well, a lot of people get heat. No one in wrestling, no one in professional wrestling gets any kind of heat anymore. Like, that's just not a thing, dude. All right, but where do I start with this match? Well, actually, I'm gonna start with the Revival really quick because little things that they do, these little things that they do to make you like really interested in the match. Like, okay, so it's like one of these things where like how well the teams know each other. Like the Revival will do little things. Like they tried to cheat, and Scott Dawson tries to use the tag team championship. Johnny Gargano does the whole, I'll take you down, roll over, hit you with the kick. While he does that, he kicks the NXT Tag Team Championship, hurts his leg, and then Dawson puts on the reverse figure 4 again, and Gargano is about to tap, but then he gets back to the ropes. Little callbacks like that, little continuity spots in wrestling really, really help. Things like that. So I'm glad they went back to something like that. Now, let me just say this. The Revival were wearing pink and black attire. Why do I say that? Because it was Canada, pink and black. What do you think about the Heart Foundation? What did they do? They hit the heart attack. These guys came out and hit the heart attack. That was great. Oh, yeah, and let me even mention this first, too, before I even get out of complete order with this match like I'm doing now. This is 2 out of 3 falls. So Johnny Gargano went for his spot where he goes for the spear through the middle ropes. He gets caught by Dawson and then gets thrown up, and the Shatter Machine is hit by Wilder. Not by Wilder, together. The Shatter Machine, their tag team finish. And that's the first fall, and I'm just thinking, whoa, already we're off the bat with this. We eventually get a conclusion with DIY hitting their tag finish. I think it's called Meet You in the Middle, where, you get the super kick and then the knee to the back of the head, which I kind of, I'm not coining this. Ashton from Twitwell has coined it, and I've used it post-concussion syndrome. Because that move, honestly, if it wasn't the WWE, if this were anywhere else, I guarantee you, Tommaso Ciampa would come up and tell you the name of this move is post-concussion syndrome. The name of this move is post-concussion syndrome. I guarantee you. Okay. Now, that being said, we're going to move on here, and we're going to get to the rest of the match. So the Revival try a bunch of other tactics to, get out of there with titles, and they honestly don't work. DIY uses the Shatter Machine, and they can't get Dawson and Wilder off of that. And then Dawson and Wilder Dawson and Wilder tried to use post-concussion syndrome, and it didn't work for them. And then DIY ended up hitting the Shatter Machine, but it got broken up. So they tried to really just not put any respect on either of them. Just not put any respect on either of the on either team here. So they weren't having it. So end of this match comes when what do you call it? Gargano and Ciampa have their 2 different submissions. The arm the armbar, the float over armbar, the bridging armbar from Tommaso Ciampa, and the it's like a I don't want to say it's like the Rings of Saturn because it honestly wasn't that, but like a variation of such, and it was like a chokehold associated with it. So at the end of the day, we got Dash and Dawson holding each other's hands to make sure they don't tap, but honestly, they couldn't go anywhere. So at this point, they had no other choice. And Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa are your NXT Tag Team Champions. And Caleb told me not to buy this shirt. Like, man, they're probably gonna break up. Well, I'm not going to doubt that because at some point, if they lose these championships, which could be next Takeover, the way NXT likes to, run their championship situation, I'm not going to completely doubt you there. But for the meanwhile, they did just become tag champs, and I did just get the shirt in. So great timing on my part. Okay, so up next we get Asuka versus Mickie James. And while this wasn't a bad match, the build to it, not even the build, the story of it, of the match itself, it was like Mickie James is to come back and see if she has what it takes in the ring against Asuka. And it's like Mickie James is proving herself to Asuka because Asuka knows that nobody can freaking beat her. Like, if you want me to put this in the terms for you about who Asuka is and what she's all about, this is female Brock Lesnar with a Japanese spin on it. She will kill you. It is basically, she has a martial arts background. She knows how to choke you out, break your arm, break your leg in like 10 different ways. Favorite spot of this match, German suplex on the floor because Mickie James looked like she about died. Okay? Like, Mickie James looked like she about died. Asuka does go on to win this with the Asuka lock. Not really, like, much to go over here. So, I mean, that's really going to be about it. I mean, the match was entertaining for what it was. I'm glad Mickie James honestly didn't fall flat in this match to me. If there's one thing that like really kept this match alive for Mickie and what kept it interesting for people, she showed great fire against Asuka and showed that she wasn't willing to back down no matter what Asuka threw at her. Another favorite part of mine on Mickey's behalf, like when her and Asuka had a little exchange of fists, she popped Asuka right in the face to the point you heard it off her jaw, and then she just turns around and gives you the expression like I'm going to kill you. Like that's just it's the little things, dude. That's the little things. But she does eventually choke Mickie James out. Mickie James does tap out. Am I a fan of Mickie James tapping out? Probably not. But I mean, if they want to make okay, no. Let me put it this way. I actually do agree with it because this way it doesn't hold anything like, oh, Mickie can't say, oh, I made this one mistake or I made that one mistake. I mean, she could, but at the end of the day, it's basically null and void because you tapped out to Asuka. Because Asuka, what's the best way to put this here? She, what does she do? What am I trying to say? Oh yeah. Because Asuka choked her out. And in wrestling, when someone taps out, it's basically them giving up to you. It's like they're telling you, I quit, I'm done, I submit to you, you're better than me. In wrestling, when you get pinned, it's like, okay, you put me down, you pinned me, I wasn't able to, tell you whether I continued or not. Like, either way, it's just like I'm being really nitpicky. And either way, Asuka exuded her dominance and Asuka gets the win. Now, up next, we get to the main event of the evening, Samoa Joe versus Shinsuke Nakamura. And Nakamura, had the one violent. Okay, Joe comes out, and then Nakamura had the one violent play for his last sentence, right? Like the one dude, do 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 do, and that's totally fine. That's totally cool, right? But here's the thing. What am I gonna? When Nakamura did his entrance this time, the violent guys got in the ring with him. And then you can see the one violin dude off to the left, I believe, and he was just sitting there knocking around like this. Like the dude was sitting there vibing to the music, like he was just like in and out of it, like. But these guys aren't really playing violin to this thing. Like they just had the violins. They were there for show. But Nakamura with the dope entrance as per usual. And this was just basically a good old fight. Like this was a New Japan styled wrestling match. Like this is just in a WWE modernized American New Japan wrestling match. These two literally just beat the crap out of each other, went back and forth. Joe had his moments of dominance. Nakamura had his. And the story of the match was Samoa Joe. Well, if I'm correct here, the story of the match was basically Samoa Joe trying to neutralize Nakamura and weaken him to the point where he knew he could have the championship. So early in the match, he went for the Uranagi on the stairs, which injured Nakamura for about 3 weeks. when the injury time was 6 to 12 in NXT, which injured Nakamura for about 3 or 4 weeks. And he could never get it till the end of the match where he got the low blow and then the Uranagi on the stairs. And Joe at the end, I think it's called Trimora Plex. No, it's Kimura Plex. Joe hit the Kimura Plex. He hit the German. He hit the Dragon. He hit the Dragon Suplex. The Dragon Suplex, and then he hit the Straight Jacket. He hit the Straight Jacket German. He hit the Kimura Plex, and then, end of the match is Samoa Joe Muscle Buster. 1, 2, 3. Nakamura did get a Kinshasa in, but Samoa Joe kicked out. He even got the setup in, and he kicked out. So yeah, at the end of the match, Samoa Joe Muscle Buster. 1, 2, 3. That's it. Samoa Joe wins. Shinsuke Nakamura dethroned for the NXT Championship. And not only that, Samoa Joe is your first ever 2-time NXT champion. So yeah, that's surprising, but it also opens up a door that makes me wonder, hey, can Shinsuke Nakamura come on up? Like, are we getting Nakamura? So yeah, that's about that. And I kind of ran over time a little bit. Let me say this much. This is what I was going to say about the whole thing about the rant for NXT and all that crap. People say like NXT, like there's really no point to this because you have guys like Rude Aries, Roger Strong, Shinsuke Nakamura, Eric Young, etc. in NXT, right? And you bring those guys in to be in a developmental program that's not going to really matter at all when we get to the main roster. Like NXT is here for what? Like at this point, it's just to be a third touring brand when the main roster, which is supposed to be the end all be all, doesn't present it as such. And basically everything you did in NXT, once you get to the main roster, doesn't matter, right? Like, so this is why people are saying that. And I get like that argument isn't entirely invalid. It's just certain guys, yes, I believe should go up there, but then other guys who I believe should be prepped for what it's like to be on WTV. No, I don't even. It's just, to me, like it's a controversial argument. If you guys want to tell me what you think in the comments, you can, because I can't wrap my mind around what I really want to say about this. So if you guys have any comments, leave them in the comment section below. Also, where in the description or comments, I don't really know. I don't really. Maybe Twitter will be there. Maybe Twitter won't. Follow me on Twitter. Fight Master Fight. And I will talk to you guys next time. Thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it. And I'll see you guys next time. See you.